All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. We are getting started here with day two of our AI Profit Week. If you haven't had a chance to tune in to our Profit Week yesterday kicking off, go ahead and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, if you're returning for day two, and what was your biggest takeaway from yesterday. Go ahead and share those in the comments. We have a jam-packed day lined up around taking action. And typically when new products are launched, new initiatives are out there, taking action is what holds people back. It's the actual doing that becomes the hardest part. And that's exactly why we put together this new format for this particular week for you called the AI Profit Week. So if you're tuning in for the first time today, there is a video for a link that you can go ahead and watch the replays. Make sure that you are signed up for the actual notifications by going to gohighlevel.com AI Profit Week and signing up there. There'll also be a link below in the comments. And that's going to give you an opportunity to really stay up to date and get that nudge, that push that you need to deliver on your commitment of doing this for you and your bigger why, right? I want to before we start getting into the action taking, right? It's important that you understand that the commitment, if it's to be, it's up to you. And I think that's like the hardest part sometimes where new shiny feature, new shiny opportunity pops up and we get excited the first 24 to 48 hours and then we're like, all right, nothing's come up from it yet. Is this for me? And if you've experienced that before, let me know what you have done to overcome that. What have you done to stay motivated, to stay pumped around the hardest part of going to market with a service, a feature, or an initiative that you started in your business? And if you're brand new to business, let me know in the comments below, how new are you, right? Because I want to make sure that I'm tailoring this content for the very brand new and those that have momentum already and are at that stuck stage. They need to get to that next level of commitment, execution, and getting results. So I'm going to be looking at the comments here as we go along. Just got to make some adjustments here. But it looks like we got a handful of people tuned in from everywhere, whether you're from the United States, Canada, country, Caribbean, wherever you're at, let me know in the comments below. And it looks like that zero clients, Shaz, very brand new, zero clients. We're gonna get you to one. We're gonna crack that egg together here. We're gonna get you to one by giving you the information you need to take action, right? So if you're tuning in on YouTube, let me know where you're tuning in from, what part of the world, what's your biggest goal? What are you looking to accomplish, right? Let me know those in the comments. And we're gonna get this party started here. Right. So AI Profit Week, you're about to take yourself into another level of accountability, another level of looking in the mirror. And I'm going to be there with you to help you along the way. We've created this link here, gohighlevel.com/AI Profit Week -wins, for you to go ahead and share your wins. So yesterday I had asked if you were going to join in here and make the commitment to make 25 phone calls, right? Making 25 phone calls was your homework. Sending 25 emails was your homework, right? Having 25 SMS going out to your personal network was your homework. Have you had a chance to do that yet? Were you able to send at least one avenue of those messages out and get responses back? If so, go ahead and share on this link here, gohighlevel.com/AI Profit Week -wins. Share your wins there as well. And if you didn't get a chance because you're just watching this or like life happened, today's the perfect day to get it done. Because yesterday when I touched on what we went over was conversations. Conversations start and end with you. Whether it's you picking up the phone, you start the conversation. Whether it's you get flustered and hang up, you end the conversation. And in order to embark on this journey of getting new customers and putting yourself out there as a subject matter expert in helping people grow their business, well, you have to facilitate that. You have to facilitate that. And the hardest part is setting the time aside and doing it, because the fear of rejection, the fear of what if someone says no, or what if I don't know what or how to respond back. Right? So we're gonna get past all of that, because by the time we end today, you're gonna be making your next set of 25 phone calls, sending your next set of 25 emails, sending your next set of 25 SMS, because repetition builds momentum. Practice gets you where you need to be. And if you didn't have a chance to watch the recording from yesterday for the AI Profit Week, right, you'll be able to go into the link on the link below here and rewatch the replay. If you're in our Facebook group, you could rewatch the replay there. If you're on YouTube, you can go to our YouTube channel and rewatch the replay there. The replay is there for you. Whether you watch it at 1.0 or 1.5 or 2.0, that's on you, but it's there. It's there for the taking. Just like the leads. The leads are there for the taking. The prospects are there for the taking. The blue ocean market is there for the taking. What's holding you back from taking it? So, as we start to unpack day 2 here, I want to know from you, what holds you back from getting you your first customer? What holds you back from making phone calls? What holds you back from doing the outbound activity to foster the conversation? Let me know, what's the hardest part for you? What's that hardest part? Is it crafting the message of how to approach it based on if it's a lead from the prospecting tool, or if it's a lead from a Facebook group, or a lead from your phone? What holds you back from the actual doing? Right? Because if we look at this, day 1, right, going to market on day 1 is really us doing the activity. And day 2 is now that activity that we did is giving us an opportunity to talk to people about what we do and how we help and what they're missing out on. Right? So is the doing initially what holds you back? Or is it the conversations after you get them to commit to meeting with you and chatting with you is what holds you back? Right? And there's a handful of comments here around how to get leads. Right? How do I get my leads? Well, we went over yesterday this prospecting tool. Look, there are an abundant amount of leads. Like, for example, I go to the gas station nearby. There's these little books. You could grab those books. Those people spend between $150 a month to thousands of dollars a month to advertise in a double quarter column, in a half page, or in a full page. Which means they have had the conversation with somebody to understand the value of what that print advertisement is going to do for them. Right? There are local businesses that are advertising on the radio because somebody had the conversation with them on the value of positioning their business on the radio, and that conversation became a relationship. Well, how many conversations are you having that are becoming a relationship? Is it one conversation out of every 10? Right? Is it 2 out of every 25? Like, what's your at-bats? And I want you to look at the conversations as your at-bats. How many times did I get up to the plate and swing at the ball? That's what you need to look at conversations like. Because before you get into paid advertisements and building these stages for yourself of showcasing you as a person, well, you gotta feel comfortable in your own skin to talk about what you do with local businesses in your area, right? And I think, there's that 50-50 split where if you're stuck on the techie part, well, how do I set this up? How do I set that up? And then there's another 50% where it's like, well, I'm really good at selling stuff, but when it comes down to explaining it, I get held up, right? And that's what we're going to go over here is how do we position ourselves, but also have a sales conversation, right? Because every day that we go through this together is a day that we build upon our last step to move forward the next one, right? So let's talk a little bit about this concept of selling the hole and not the drill, right? And let's focus on what our prospective client needs, right? Let's say, we meet the tree service company and we meet them at the Home Depot in the parking lot. What is the conversation you're going to have with them, right? So in the comments below, you're in the Home Depot parking lot, you're in the Lowe's parking lot, you're in the construction parking lot where you buy stuff. You see a tree service company in the parking lot with somebody in the driver's seat. You decide to say hi to them. What do you say? What do you say to strike a conversation? Let me know below in the comments. Right? Because we have to talk to strangers. Initially, we have to talk to strangers so we understand what we need to do. Right? Now, if I was in the parking lot and I were to see a tree service truck and I would see someone in the passenger seat, in the driver's seat, and I was hungry for my first sale, right? I would go up to the window. Let's say it's a nice day. Go up to the window and say, hey, quick question for you. Are you guys a small business or are you guys one of those bigger outfits? And whether they say whatever they say, I would then say that's exactly what I was wondering. Because I want to make sure that if I hire somebody, I can trust they get the job done. Right? So if they say they're a big company, that's exactly why I was asking, because I want to make sure that I can trust I get the job done right. If they were a small company, same thing. Right? And the goal here is just to get that positive sentiment to them and just kind of reward them for their answer. That's exactly why I asked. Right? I figured. Question for you. Do you work in this area a lot? Do you have a lot of houses that you serve in this area? Maybe they say, yeah, great. That's exactly why I asked. Because, I noticed that there are a lot of companies that come in and out of town, but there's always different trucks. And I felt like I've seen your truck before. But help me understand this. Are you guys residential, commercial? And then here's where they're going to kind of interrupt you here, because this is what I've had done to me. And how can I help you? Well, this is why I was asking. I work with tree companies, I work with service businesses to help them get new customers, right? Service their existing customers and respond to either or when their customer wants an answer. And I was hoping to just understand a little bit about what you guys were doing to help people in this area get their trees removed, because there's a lot of bad weather that's been happening, right? So relating it to the area, and they then go, well, yeah, I mean, of course, this is what we do, right? So you get a feel of their knowledge, you get a feel of their tonality, right? And you need to eventually, right, speak their language, right? And the biggest thing here is just having the conversation. See, we're not selling anything. We're just understanding who they are as a business. And maybe that conversation goes great, or maybe it gets paused, or they say, hey, look, I'm not the guy for you. I'm not the gal. I just work here. I'm not the owner. And that's fine. But majority of the times, people don't even get that far. They're not even having that conversation. There's this reluctancy of, oh, I don't want to call them, or I don't want to say hi to them, or I don't want to talk to them because I already know what the answer might be, or I'm afraid of what the answer might be. So I want you to type in the comments below, we have to start conversations. We have to start conversations. And there are some ways here that people are sharing, right? You approach the truck with a smile. Do you have any business cards? Hey, are you the owner? Right? Say something because they're going to look at you and hopefully you have a smile. You're approachable. They're going to say, "Yeah, man, how can I help you? How can I help you?" Right? Because no one is expecting someone to just come up to them and sell them something in the parking lot. Right? They're expecting to have a conversation. And as you start this conversation track, you get really good at it after a while. So now we have these conversations. How do we start to have results-driven approach to them? Right? How do we start to highlight the business transformation that we want to help? How do we start to bridge the gap between the insight or the strategy and the result they're going to receive? That's exactly what we're going to go over today. But we can't do anything unless you start talking to people. So if you've already started, because you were here yesterday, and you made the phone calls, what were some of the responses you got from the phone calls? Good, bad, indifferent? Let me know in the comments below. What were some of the responses you received? What were some of the feelings that you had when you were making the phone call? Whether it was from your cell phone, whether it was from high level, what did you feel? Right? Because we got to get those jitters out. There's a lot of new people, right, that are joining that they want to take on the challenge of entrepreneurship. They want to take on the challenge of being a business owner. But there's a lot of business owners out there that make it look so easy, and you assume it's easy because you see what it is. But this is the behind the scenes that is the hardest part. The conversation, the outreach, it's what holds people back. But here's the good news, right? We're working in an industry, we're working in a field, we're working with technology that helps people. Because small businesses are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with the processes, the missed calls. They're overwhelmed with just everything. And what you need to be confident in and remind yourself is that you have a solution. You have a solution to the problem. So, look, you meet the tree service guy or gal, and they have a conversation with you. You're talking back and forth, and they like you. So here's what's the worst. They start to like you. So they say to you, right? They say to you, "Hey, so what do you do?" Right? And I'll say, "Look, you want to know the super shiny way, or you want to know the straight up way? Like, you got to have a personality." And they say, like, tell me how it is. I help business owners that really don't know what they're doing with how to manage their time with everything happening. Simplify it. Like, imagine, like, you got probably 15, 20 calls coming in for tree service, right? And you got to, like, do the tree work. And then you got employees. Like, knowing how to do all this tech stuff to make it work is very overwhelming. And it's very manual. So what I do with my clients is I help them just automate it all. So, like, for example, if you were my customer, I would set up what I call an AI employee that handles your incoming calls. So you have someone that calls about how to pay their bill. That would be handled for you. Someone that wants to set up an estimate. That would be handled for you. Somebody that's asking if you do commercial work. That would be handled for you. And you would receive, like, updates on it. And I don't know how techie you are, but, like, whether you realize it or not, that's what the bigger companies do with you. They give you this white glove help, and you think it's an actual human being when it's not a human being at all. And that's what I do for my customers. And as you start to get confidence in explaining this in a basic layman way that they can understand, and not feel overwhelmed with the technology portion of things, they're going to say, hey, man, tell me more. Right. And this is like that split between being a cool human, being an easy, down to earth person, and then like knowing your product, knowing their problems, knowing what they need help with. So be a cool human being and know how to solve people's problems. You're right there, right? You're like right in the middle. And I think that's the biggest part that people like get a little caught up on. They lose their cool, like they're very stiff and very nervous. And then the business owner is like, well, okay, what else? And then the business owner starts to like bully you a little bit. It's almost like, oh, do you know what you're doing? And, could you really help me? I'm good, man. I'm good. I got someone already. Or, hey, man, nah, I'm good. Thanks, man. Does that even work? Like, they start disrespecting you because you don't have your feet on the ground solid. Have you ever experienced that? Like, how many of you have been in sales before? Let me know in the comments. How many of you have been in sales before? Let me know if you've been in sales before. Let me know how long you've been in sales. Let me know what you sold, right? How many of you are like totally brand new to sales? Like you've never really sold anything like a product or a service, but you're good at other things, and that's what attracted you to high level, right? Because we got to get you good at both. We got to get you good at, right, how to use high level, good enough to like get it up and running or get the resources, and we got to get you good at like having good conversations, good business acumen, understanding people, business problems, and like how the two come together, right? And whether you've been in real estate for a little bit, residential real estate, commercial real estate, you understand that no one says, hey man, here's my money, sell me a house, right? And maybe if that's the case, right, then that's one out of many. But other than that, you're putting them through a sales call process. You're asking questions. You're getting to know them, right? Whether you were selling, equipment, right? We got medical equipment sales, real estate sales, local business advertisements, right? Like there's people like when people talk to a human being, even though they know what they want to buy already, they want to go through a process. They want to feel the care. They want to feel the attention. So I need you to get really good at just having those conversations to get them there, right? Get them there. Because look, there'll always be a replenishment of businesses coming in and out of the door. But that's not what you want to base your business model on. You want to base your business model on knowing your product, being able to deliver a good quality product, getting referrals from those customers that are happy, and then attracting customers in this blue ocean that find out about you because others are talking about you when you're not around. They're finding you online because of your reviews and your reputation. They're finding you because you do presentations. They're finding you because you eventually decided to start posting on social media and let people know what you do and how you do it. There's this organic reach that gets, it's like a magnet. You're a magnet, and then a bunch of paper clips start coming at you because you've built the foundation and you've locked yourself in, and you're so good at what you do and you're so good at sharing it that the paper clips got no choice but to be attracted to you. And I want you to look at the paper clips like small businesses that are looking, right? That are looking for help. People are looking for people to help them. Like whatever you believe, like know that people want to pay for help. People want someone to give them white glove service. People want to pay for a service or a product in return. They want it. But are you positioning yourself? Right? And if you are positioning yourself, what are you positioning yourself with? Well, you're positioning yourself with the AI employee, right? That it could do a bunch of things. Could do a bunch of great things. But more importantly, it's increasing leads, right? It's bringing in more revenue. Because those are the tangible outcomes that people want. When people do advertisements, they don't really care all that about the process of how the advertisement goes out or all those details. They want the result. They're connecting the money with the result. What am I going to get for my dollar? And that's where you're in a nice position where the AI employee gives a result that you could associate the dollars to. It's not like by chance. Because if you're working with businesses, real businesses that have traffic coming in, they have customers, then the calls are going to come in and the calls are going to get served. So let's talk a little bit about here on an example, right? Let's talk about an example. And let's go back to this tree service company because, look, the tree service industry is a great industry because there's small solo operators, there's medium-sized operators with maybe one or two partners, and then staff, and then there's bigger enterprises in that industry. And they're in an industry where trees always need to be cut down, stumps need to be always removed. There needs to be a clearing of path. There's some seasonal, depending on if there's storms, emergencies. There's a nice mix of opportunity with this industry. And in your area, there's a handful of tree service companies, right? I want you to go to Google and type in tree service near me. Go on to Google, type in tree service near me, right? And I want you to scroll down and see how many tree services are in your area. And I'm sure there's more than 10, 15, or 20, 25. You got to call those people. You got to call them up. Because here's the challenge they're going through, right? They're going through, if you're in an area with storms, they're going through situations where they're overloaded. They have too many calls coming in, right? You can help them with that. They're going through situations where their staff, right, leaves them. Their staff leaves them. And now they're stuck answering the calls. So the challenge is always there. And in this example here, the tree service was missing urgent calls during busy hours, and they're losing out. I mean, think about this. If 5 people, 6 people call, and 2 out of the 6 have an emergency that they need a stump removed, they need a tree removed in order for their real estate transaction to go through, right? Are they gonna look for a tree service right away? Yes. And if for whatever reason 3 or 4 of those tree services don't pick up the phone, well, they're going to go to the next. At the very least, if this AI employee is answering, you have a better chance at getting those calls than not. And I think that's the biggest part here, is understanding the why. So, as you start to meet these tree service businesses that aren't putting themselves out there with technology, they're not, adopting, AI or services to help them grow their business, it's because they haven't found someone trustworthy. They haven't found someone local. They haven't found someone that they could really lean on for their expertise. And that's you. That's you. And the question is, how do I get in front of those people? How do I get in front of those people? Well, you got to call them. Or you got to go into your Rolodex. Or you got to go back into who you know in your personal network that might be a business owner, right, that you could help out. Or ask for an introduction. You don't have to call people cold. You don't have to reach out to strangers. But you have to leverage your personal network. because no one's just going to come to you and say, "Here, take my money." I mean, I feel like you all know this already, but knowing it and understanding what you need to do are two different things, right? I know that no one's just going to say, "Here, I want to get signed up," but I do know that I need to reach out to people and I need to have a conversation for them to sign up. And that's going to start to give you this confidence that will help you start getting these conversations, these demos, these Zoom calls, these in-person calls, right? How many of you right now are interested in only working with people in person, right? How many of you would prefer to go to someone's business in person and do business with them, right? If I said to you, "Hey, I got five tree service companies in your area. They want to work with someone locally. Would you go help them locally?" Let me know in the comments. How many of you would prefer just to work with people online? Only someone through Zoom, by phone, but pretty much Zoom, right? Because they want to at least see you at some point. How many of you would prefer to do that? Right? Let me know. Do you prefer to work with people on Zoom or in person or both? You're flexible, right? So for those that are commenting online, let me know in the comments, how do you plan on getting people to show up on a Zoom and to talk to you? How do you plan on getting people to want to get to know you, to trust you, right? So let's just say, for example, right? I go and I look up some local businesses that are in my area. I want to work with them online only, right? So I'll give a call, and when I call them, I'll mention I'm from the area, right? I'll mention I'm from the area, and then I'll have a conversation around what I know in the area, so that way they know I'm from the area, right? And because maybe my phone number is a local number, right? I'm not calling from out of area, a different area code. They'll pick up my phone, right? And maybe I'll offer, "Hey, look, I'm reaching out because I found you in the Home Improvement magazine. I was in Wawa. I picked up the magazine. I found you on the front cover of the Home Improvement magazine. Really liked your ad, and I figured let me reach out to you because you understand the value of advertising, of branding, of putting yourself out there. And I was hoping, since I'm local, I was hoping that I can talk with you about some of the ways that I'm working with others to drive more traffic to their business, especially since they're doing advertisements like yours on front covers and social media ads, etc. If it's easier for you, we can do a Zoom, or we can meet at the coffee shop. But if it's easier, we could just knock out a Zoom and I could walk you through this and see and share with you how I can help you. Because I put a few things together and I know for a fact, whether you know it or not, that you're missing on a few important parts that I can help you out with right away. Right? And then there's this pushback that happens. And it's always going to happen. That's where you have to understand their business. That's where you have to say, "Hey, look, how many missed calls do you get after 5:30? How many missed calls do you get between 7 and 10? How many missed calls? Who do you have answering your phone on a Saturday after 3 or a Saturday all day?" Right? And you start to ask these questions and they say, "Well, I don't, we don't work Saturdays." So then you say, "Well, if you don't work Saturdays, that's fine. But what if you were to get an emergency call that was worth $20,000? Would you work a Saturday?" If you were to get a phone call from the local municipal township that they needed 15 trees removed because of a storm, would you take the job if it was worth 20, 30, $40,000? What do you think the answer would be? Right? Maybe they say, yeah, well, of course I would. But you don't answer your phone on the weekends. You don't work the weekends. So how would you get that job? How would you be aware of it? Would you just send them to voicemail and hope they leave a voicemail? See, look, that's what most of these businesses are doing. They're just letting it go to voicemail. And people rarely leave voicemails. They want to speak to somebody. They want to know that their concern is answered. So I want to show you what I put together for my service business owners, which is an AI employee that basically works 24/7. It's smarter than the average person, and it answers the questions exactly how you want it to, no matter what time somebody calls. It'll even schedule an estimate call for you. It'll even call you as well if you want it to. Right? It'll do it for you without you answering the phone each and every time. Would you be open to learn more about that? Is that something you're interested in? No, I'm not. Okay, then you move on. You move on, right? Like this is a numbers game. You're not talking people into this, right? But I need you all to understand that the confidence happens with the amount of conversations you have over and over and over, right? Because the businesses don't buy the products, they buy the solutions to the problem. So, service business owner that's, one employee to maybe five employees, right? They're still they're small, they're family owned and operated. Well, maybe they don't have someone working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So instead, maybe they had an answering service and they stopped with that because that wasn't really working for them. So now they just let the phone calls go to voicemail, or they don't even answer the phone. I mean, how many times have you called the business and they don't even answer the phone? They say text, or they text you. Hey, let's text. Like, what? I need 4 couches removed. I need a clean out of my home. I need this. I need that. Like, I don't want to text you. I want to speak to a human being. I want to speak to somebody to give me answers. So as you start to understand what these businesses are doing, their voicemails are full. They're not answering the phone. They're scared to do sales themselves. You get to come in there and position yourself as the expert. Because you're not just selling a product for $297. This is where you get to bundle on your expertise. So let's look at this as a service business owner. They're a junk removal company. They're not too techy, and now you make friends with them. You talk to them. They trust you, and now they're asking you these types of questions. So JB, I want to get more customers. What would you recommend? Well, what kind of customers do you want? Like those are the questions that start asking you. What would you recommend? Hey man, I'm getting phone calls about this. What are your thoughts? So we go from what would you recommend to what are your thoughts? Because I had a great conversation. I built a relationship. I got them in my cell phone. I got them in my lead connector. I got them in my high level. And now they know, like, and trust me. So I'm their go-to. How many of you have a go-to person? Let me know in the comments. Do you have a go-to person? Whether it's a mechanic, a barber, someone that does handyman work. You have a go-to person. What makes that go-to person your go-to person? Let me know in the comments what makes that go-to person your go-to person. It's not the product they have. It's not the coolness of what they know. It's that they solve your problems, I'm assuming. They solve your problems. Right? So this tree service company doesn't care about the AI technology. They actually care about you more than the technology. They care that you know what you're doing to help them with their business. They care that your recommendation, your insight, your expertise was able to book 8 appointments and earn them $2,400 in that week. That's what they want. You tell any tree service company, hey, if I can answer your phone, if I can have my system answer your phone, book appointments, schedule callbacks for you, would you be okay with that? And would you accept the money that they pay for it? They're going to say yes. Because to them, that's uncollected money. That's money that they would have never had. And they don't know what they don't know. Because you got to show them, look, you're missing 10 calls. 1 out of 10 calls could be the job that goes to someone else that's worth $10,000. So I need you to think about what is the biggest result your potential clients would want from Voice AI. Right? Whoever you want to work with, let's say your expertise is working with chiropractors. Let's say your expertise is working with attorneys. Let's say your expertise or your interest is working with daycares. Whatever industry, what is the outcome they would want from the Voice AI? You need to know that front and back. Because that's what you need to start having the conversations around. Because the numbers, the end result tells the story. Because at the end of the day, clients want results. So like whether it's the tree service, the junk removal company, the painter, the junk removal company is looking for calls coming in from maybe real estate agents. Hey, we need a clean out, or from let's say from other contractors. Hey, could you come out here and take this job? Or what does it cost for a dumpster? Or what do do you have manpower to do a building clean out? Right? But if they don't answer the phone, they're never going to have that conversation. Right? If it's 2 in the morning and there's an emergency and you're calling for a plumber and no one answers the phone, even though there's an emergency fee, if no one answers the phone, there's no fee to pay for the emergency. The hardest part people have is getting a response from contractors when they need it. And that's the result you give to your customers. Right? And I think as you start to understand this concept of, look, you're sleeping, your phone's getting answered, you're getting notified when you need to call them back, is a lot better than hopefully you'll get some calls that come in from your ads, and hopefully you'll answer the phone and you'll get that customer that you hopefully got because they called you at the right time. But you need a repeatable process, and that's where your AI employee comes in. What questions do you all have, right? What are some of the questions that are coming to your mind when it comes to having conversations with contractors, with small businesses, with small offices about the AI employee, and what's the potential objection that you may feel that might come at you? How do you project that conversation to happen? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to take a look here to see the responses. And as I see here, we have people that they're having these wins without being in person, but they're having conversations, right? They're having conversations because people are calling, and people getting referrals. People are sending text messages. People are sending emails. That's an important part of this, is the outreach. And as we start to get these conversations that turn into trials, we start to get these founding customers, these small customers that maybe we gave them a discount, or we gave them a trial, or we gave them a founder's membership, right? Now we're starting to see the results for ourselves. See, the conversations start to change when you start to see the results yourself, right? Imagine you set up a trial for somebody and they had 20 missed calls that were answered and 10 turned into book appointments. Let's say you're working with a med spa and they're a one person business right now. They just started. They did some Facebook ads. They're getting traffic. They got tons of referrals. They did a great grand opening. They are swamped. They could barely answer the phone, let alone have lunch, because they are back to back on their schedule. So who's answering the phone? And for every phone call that's not answered, what is that costing them? Well, they may never know because they're not checking the caller ID. They're not calling people back because they're okay at the moment. See, businesses that are doing well at the moment don't care about the potential of what they missed. It's the businesses that are hurting now that are hoping to get the result that they would have got sooner. So you have to play both ends of that. If you're a med spa owner, and this in a quick role play here, and you say to me, hey, look, I'm good. I'm packed. I'm booked. I'm double booked. I'm going to ask you, well, how'd you get double booked? How did you get this influx of customers? Oh, I'm running Facebook ads and they're going great. Okay. And what about customers that pay you and they have 4 or 5 treatments that they have to still fulfill? And when they call you, you don't answer the phone. Because when I went on your Google business profile, I did notice that you have some negative reviews that you don't get back to people. Have you noticed that affecting your business at all yet? No. I mean, I'm a little bit, but nothing crazy. Okay. So let's just put a scenario here. You're a brand new med spa. Your calendar's jam-packed with new customers. Every new customer that comes in has to do 4 sessions and they leave a deposit for 2 out of the 4. And for you to collect the remaining deposits, you have to fulfill the service. But more importantly, the customer may want to fulfill the service sooner than you're willing to accept the money of what the balance is due. So let me just help me understand this part here. If I give you $7,000, right, and I give you 3,000 of that now, because I have to owe you the balance after the service is done. Well, what if I want to get my treatment done quick? What if I want to get everything done within 4 weeks to 6 weeks as it was advertised versus, 10 weeks to 12 weeks? But I can't get a hold of you. I can't get a hold of anybody. I can't book my appointment. I'm going to be frustrated. I'm going to feel like I got bamboozled. I'm going to feel like I'm being dodged. I'm going to leave you a bad review. And that's what we need to prevent. See, it's not just about the new customers coming in. It's about the consistency of the service we're giving all of our customers. And that's exactly where what I'm going to offer you here is going to help you. It's going to keep everybody happy. That's the most important part. Right? And while we're at it, you might end up even getting appointments booked that you might need to decline. Because what I'm going to put in place is going to sync with your calendar and give you the opportunity to accept new slots for your services. And what all of this does is starts to paint the picture of Man, I never thought of it like that. Yeah, I do accept two out of, I do accept 50% of the deposit, and I am so booked that I'm not seeing people exactly when they want to see, and I did get some bad reviews on it. How could you help me with that? And my answer to that would be we have to have clear communication. We have to be available for when people call us. And I understand that you can't be available. I understand that you're in a new business, building things up, and you're taking care of your patients and you're taking care of your responsibilities, and you can't be everywhere at once. But here's where I can help you. I'm going to put in place this AI employee that we're going to train it to answer your questions that you normally deal with every day. And we're going to also train it on what's the next step it takes regarding a complaint, regarding rebooking or scheduling the next treatment, responding and notifying whomever needs to be reached out to around the next step. And all of this starts to make sense because you understand their business and they understand that you understand it. And that's important because if a business owner doesn't feel like you know what you're doing, they're not going to trust you. Let alone pay you. They're not going to trust you. Because look, at the end of the day, what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be saving you time, but also we're going to be saving your customers frustration and time. Right? Because what we put in place is going to help with what you would have paid or tried to find to solve with staff, with training that staff, with prioritizing issues. We're going to take full control over that. And that's what's going to help you with your business. That's what's going to bring positive reviews. That's where you're going to collect more cash, more balance due you're going to collect. So everything I've gone over here are the metrics that matter to a business: appointments, complaints, positive reviews, being responded to, getting answers. All of that is important. And those are metrics that you tie to your AI employee offer. If you hire an employee for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, what would be the metrics that you would tie to them? Well, how's their customer service? Do they know how to book appointments? How well do they book appointments? Do they handle complaints well? Right? These are all those same metrics that you could apply to your AI employee, but you have to. So you're not selling this to you, nor are you selling it to the person you want to work with. You are bringing to the attention of what they don't have in place and what they don't know is possible. Because no one knows the same as you and I that this is all even possible. They're like, wait, this is expensive. And when clients start to see the numbers like these, they understand the direct impact to their bottom line. Like here's a number that'll keep you up at night, right? And you let me know in the comments how you feel about this, right? If you were to get 4 chargebacks and in your bank account you saw negative, 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 would that bother you? Now that you've experienced it, would that bother you? And then once that bothered you, would you start to think how you could have avoided it? Man, I could have avoided it if I did this. I could have avoided it if I did that. I could have put this in place. I should have known that. Right? Have you ever ordered anything on Amazon or purchased something online that it didn't look like the photo, or it didn't deliver the result it said it was going to deliver? And you're like, I'm going to return this. This is no good. Or I'll never make that mistake again. right? Until you go through that experience, you don't know what you don't know. And I want you to truly resonate with this with business owners. They don't know what they don't know. Here's what business owners know. They either got to pay rent, insurance, tax, staff, vendors, fees. Like that's what they know. They know what they have to pay out. They're not looking at things in a hypothetical. I could probably get 15 customers. No, I got two people in front of me. I'm going to sign these two people up. We're going to do the stump removal for 1,200, and we're going to do the tree removal for 3,400. Right? That's what they know. What's in front of them is what they know. So you need to put in front of them what they should know. You need to put in front of them what they should be aware of that could happen to them and how they could miss out. Because at the end of the day, business owners care about the results that could either make them better or have made them worse. Right? They're not thinking about what could make them worse. They're thinking about what already made them worse. They're thinking about how to avoid that pain again. They're not thinking about what potentially pain they could have. Man, that happened to me. I got burned. I'll never accept a check from that person again. Oh man, I got burned. I'll never leave that employee to drive that vehicle alone. They're not thinking about, oh, well, if the person's looking at their phone, like, no, they're going back to what's already been done. So you need to bring to their attention that if this is what you're missing out on, because this is what I'm seeing with other businesses. And if you could use an extra $10, $15, $20,000 a month, well, setting this up, you'll have a better chance of doing that than not. Let me show you an example. But the only way you can get this done is if you're practicing the positioning. And not practicing in front of the mirror, practicing with real people. Practicing with real people is important. Having conversation with tree companies, having conversation with your Rolodex, having conversation with people that are advertising in your local home improvement magazine, on the Little League sign, that Facebook ad that keeps popping up. Call them. Hey man, I always see your Facebook ad. I really like it. But I notice that I'm leaving you a voicemail right now. Wouldn't you like if this was answered for you automatically and could even book an appointment for you? Would love to talk to you about it because you're losing out on money. Right? Like you start to get this level of swag that like you don't care because you know what you got is the sauce. You know what you got is works. See, the problem is that when you don't know what you got, you really don't know how to talk about it with confidence. I know the AI employee is fire. Here's why I know. Because I've seen and heard people's calls get answered, appointments booked, even better than the actual business owner or tree person or chiropractor would have done. Because the AI employee just knew how to answer with the information it was given. It just got a little bit more clear, crisp. It just got to the point faster. And that's where your next appointment comes from. Because you take what you learn there and you have another great conversation. So here's an example. Let's use a chiropractor, right? Let's use a chiropractor that, let's say I find there's these local magazines in communities, and a chiropractor is always in there with an article, right? Young chiropractor, maybe they remind me of somebody, or whatever the case may be. I call them up. Hey, Dr. Frank, I saw your amazing article in the magazine. When you get a chance, give me a call back. Wanted to throw something your way, see if you could catch it, and see what we could do. My number is talk to you then, right? He didn't answer the phone. He didn't answer the phone, right? So now I'm making a mental note. He didn't answer the phone. What if I had an emergency back pain and I needed care right away? He missed out because I got great insurance. I got great insurance. He missed out, right? That's how you start to think, right? And now let's say he calls back. Ring, ring, ring. Hello? Hey, yeah, Dr. Frank, I gave you a call. I was calling because I saw your article in the magazine, but then I said to myself, what if I had back pain and I have great insurance and you didn't answer the phone? Would it have taken you this long to call me back? And maybe he says, well, I've never thought of it like that, right? Like, because, and you'll start to get your tonality and your style, but you can push at people respectfully, but strategically. And they respect you for understanding their business, right? Well, Doc, I originally called because I saw your article and I figured you'd be a great person to partner up with. Since you're local, I'm local. I'm running a couple of I'm running an initiative that I would love to get your take on. Say, well, what kind of initiative? What are you doing? Look, I'm working with chiropractors that to limit people from going to the emergency room because they have an extreme back pain and maybe they don't have the insurance and maybe all it takes is the adjustment or maybe all it takes is that office visit with the right amount of cream or acupuncture or positioning that pain could go away and save that patient thousands of dollars on emergency care visit that they don't have insurance for. And what I was hoping to do was to run this by you and see if you'd be open to do a trial of my AI patient employee that will answer your phone call all day, every day, even if you're off on Mondays and have a half a day on Thursday, all hours of the day. And we could set it up so that way it notifies you with a transcript and it has questions that it asks. Would you be interested in discussing further on that? What are your thoughts? Well, that's actually really cool. I never thought of it like that. Doc, I get it. And a lot of people don't. I mean, think about this. If I have excruciating back pain and the urgent care is closed and the emergency room, it's just the stigma of right being a lot of money. Well, I'm gonna try to hold off on the pain, or if it's really bad, then I'll go to the emergency room. But Doc, my question to you is, would you open up the office or have a first in the morning appointment available if you were to speak to this patient and understand their situation and know that they are now going to become a long-term patient with you? So it's not just a one-off, it's a long-term patient. I never thought of it like that. Well, Doc, how do you think of it, right? Can I ask you that question? How do you think of it? Well, I'll tell you, I've been doing this for 20 some odd years, and people will come in with some back pain. We give them this, we give them that, we do this, we do that, and they move on. I said, Doc, would you be open to look at it a little bit different, right? And now you start to ask strategic questions around insurance, cash payments, and you're having a great conversation. But you don't get that far by just winging it. You get that far by practicing it with the same type of business over and over and over. And that's a framework that you could start with. I mean, how else did you expect to get customers? Like if you were to do Facebook ads and Google ads right now, you have an unlimited budget for Facebook ads and Google ads. What would you expect? right? Is your offer that good that they're just going to sign up on their own? Because here's the mistake that marketers make. They think that everybody thinks like them. See, you and I will buy everything. We'll give everything a shot as marketers. But your small to medium-sized business owner, they're frugal and they're protective off of their time and experience and what if. Where you and I, we'll buy the free trial. We'll sign up for a bunch of things. We'll download the 5, 10, 15 different apps. We'll problem solve it. We'll get in the mix. We'll get in the weeds. But for a tree service company, they're not doing that. For a painter, they're not doing that. For a chiropractor, they're not doing that. They're not techie all the time. They're not salesy all the time. They just want results. And they'll pay the premium for someone like you that knows what to do. But you will never get the kringle if you never have the conversation around their pain points and what they're doing and asking the right questions. So let's talk about how we have those conversations, right? At this point, we've gotten real good at calling people with our preliminary conversation, which is, hey, I saw you here. Hey, I saw this, or I know this, or I believe I can help you with this, or hey, did you know this, or hey, would you be open to that? We got that part down pat. Now let's take this to they're listening and now giving you the time. Let's talk about that. So, step one, what we want to do is we want to understand what are the top challenges they're dealing with. Not everybody's dealing with the same challenges all the time, right? Are they dealing with the missed calls because their staff, they're going through turnover on staff? Are they going through scheduling gaps because they're dealing with scheduling on their own while they're driving to the next job? Because the staff is not, reliable to handle those gaps or to properly set it up? Are they losing money because they're not answering the phone? Like, let's keep this to the basic. First question, are you answering the phone every time it rings? Go ahead and type in the chat. Are you answering the phone every time it rings? And then let me know in the chat, type in, how many times do you let the phone ring before you answer it? Because if they're not answering the phone, that's a problem in itself. And we could solve that problem. Now let's understand why. Why they're not answering the phone. Why aren't you answering the phone? Roger, great point, man. Shaz, absolutely. We are in an economy that people are calling all day, every day, spamming. Spam likely. Hey, are you so and so? Selling something. And you may be asking, well, what makes me different? What makes you different is that you got the conversation. You were like those other people that they were ignoring. You were like them. They were avoiding you. They were not answering your call. You were what they thought was a bill collector. You were what they thought was someone asking about their car warranty. You were that pesky person that keeps calling over and over and over, asking for money or a donation. That's who you were before. Now you're not. Because now you're having a conversation with them. So now I need you to reverse engineer in your mind so you understand, how could the voice AI help this business? So in the comments below, how can the voice AI help a tree service company? Let me know below. Just one response. How can a voice AI help a tree service company? How can a voice AI help a chiropractor? How can a voice AI help a daycare? How can a voice AI help a business owner that is having a hard time keeping a receptionist on staff because of the pay of the hours? How can an AI employee help that person? And as we start to see those answers come in, right, now we can't unsee it. We need to keep it in the back of our mind. So look, what's really nice about the voice AI is that as long as they're calling your number and it's set up to accept calls, it'll answer, and it'll answer consistently, and it'll ask questions that you train it to ask. It'll share that transcript. The technical part we have covered, but you just need to share with that business owner the non-technical on how it's going to help them put more money in their pocket. How does this help me put more money in my pocket? Look, if I put this AI employee and it picks up all of your calls, and you're noticing that a majority of your calls are happening Saturday morning because homeowners are not working and they're actually able to call people to get estimates and have people come out to see them and talk to them in person before they give them a check or give them a credit card. Because they want to speak with someone trustworthy. They want an expert to come to their home. Well, you don't normally work Saturdays. But if your AI employee answers the call and it sends you the transcript, will you work this Saturday if you look up the address and you see where the home is located? Maybe it's nearby you. Maybe if it's somebody who it's an emergency. Maybe the township or the police department or somebody's calling you because your name is reputable and they know that you do good service and they're calling you to come for an emergency job. That emergency job could be worth $15,000. Would you take it if that job was worth $15,000? Would you take that job? Well, you would never have a chance at it if you never answered your phone. You would never have a chance on it if you never answered your phone. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're making sure that no phone call goes unanswered. None. Whether you decide to call them or back, no call goes unanswered. And you're going to get a transcript for every call. You're going to be able to screen every call like you do now with your cell phone. Somebody calls you, voicemail, maybe you copy and paste the phone number, put it in your Google, check whose the number is. You call back when you decide, or you never probably call back. That's how people are doing business. That's how people are screening their calls. They're Googling the phone number. They're listening to the voicemail. So imagine your AI voice sounds like this. Hey, thanks for calling JB Tree Service. Staff is on the field now, but how can I help you? Yeah, I was looking for an estimate, so on and so forth. Great. You might share with me what your home address is. Want to make sure that we can get the right crew to your home to help you out, or if we service your area. I'm in so and so, so and so, so and so. Fabulous. What seems to be the problem? What do you need help with? And is it an emergency? Right? It shares, and then it says, yes, it's an emergency. Right? You get this transcript in your email. 2 trees down, emergency. Cha-ching. As a business owner. Because you're in business to make money. You're also in business to help people. You have the equipment that you pay premium insurance for. You have the staff that you pay workman's comp for. It is not a sin to make money for your business. It is nothing wrong with making money for what your business and what your people are worth. But it is painful if you start to find out these are the jobs you're missing because you decided to call somebody back out of curiosity and said, "Oh no, I already found somebody. I felt like we got ripped off." And you say, "Well, what do you mean? What kind of work did you need?" I had 3 trees that fell down. I need them removed ASAP. It was part of my real estate transaction closing. Huh? How much did they charge you? They got us for like $10,000. What kind of trees were they? Right? You're thinking you're like, wait, what? And now it's not even about the money. It's that they got them. These people got ripped off, and you're upset that they got ripped off. It's not even about the money. It's that you're upset they got ripped off. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have picked up, or I had no. We don't usually work Saturdays, right? Like that's that moment. And again, as you start to experience this from your perspective, and you're doing trials, and you're having conversations, and you're hearing horror stories, and you're looking at reviews, you start to build this mindset around what is happening in the world in your area. Like the best strategy for a competitor is to look at the competitor's negative reviews. That's the best strategy. If you want to get a leg up on an industry, or you want to get a leg up on a competitor, go to that industry, sort the reviews by 1 star, 3 star, 4 star, wherever to let you sort these days. Look at all the negative reviews. That'll give you every answer of what not to do wrong and how you can solve the problem. There's your product market fit. There's your business solution. Because what you think is the problem is not. So what now? JB, what now, man? Look, here's the thing. And I'm going to take it back to the beginning. And I don't want this to come off any way but the right way. When I meet people and I talk to people, what then is what's holding them back? And that is the phone call, outbound, reaching out, talking. That's the problem. People aren't talking enough to people. They're messaging only. They're hiding behind the keyboard. They're texting. They're not calling. They're not talking. Your voice is your tool. Your voice should be part of your cadence. Your voice should be part of your process. Yes, send an email, but then make a phone call after it. Yes, send a text, but then follow up with a phone call. Yes, you're going to send a DM, record a voice message and send it. Hey, it's JB. I saw all your posts that you're posting out there. I'm noticing that you guys are doing some amazing stuff. I want to give you one extra leg up on something that I think you guys will really, really appreciate. And it'll bring you some money as well, because not a lot of people are doing it. Give me a call back or shoot me a text. We'd love to chat with you about it. Like someone's going to listen to that and say, "Oh, this guy, let me give him a call back. Let me give him a call back," right? So as we have these conversations happening, what is the next step? Well, if you have a good conversation, get them into your high level ecosystem. Get them into your platform. And here's how you do that, right? I have a great conversation with Shaz. Shaz, we have a great conversation. You ask me, JB, what do I need to do to get started? Right? I'm going to say to you, Shaz, you got a couple things. I'm going to give you 7 days. I'm going to give you a 7-day trial of how this works. Right? That's going to give us time to talk to your business partner or whomever else, whatever excuse you're giving me, right? That's going to get your foot in the door. We're going to get you set up. I want you to see it in action for your business. Your AI assistant will be up within an hour, maybe sooner. I want you to have people call it. I want us to refine the questions that we need to answer. And we're going to talk on Wednesday. We're going to review the results. We're going to talk on Monday. and we're going to talk about what's next. Right? Just get them into seeing what it's like to work with you. Right? If they see what it's like to work with you, they want more of it. They want more of it. So what does it cost you? Well, if you haven't set up your AI agent now, well, it's free until the end of the month, till end of December. So it's not going to cost you anything. You set up the sub account, you activate the AI agent, you get them in the mix, you get them experiencing it. How many of you can give away 5 free AI agents to 5 business owners that you know personally? How many of you here know 5 business owners in your phone right now? Answer me that question. How many of you know 1 to 5 business owners right now in your phone? And how many of you have set them up on a free trial of this AI agent? If you have the $297 plan or the $497 plan, you should have 5, 10, 15, 20 free agents going. People should be experiencing this tool because you're experiencing it at no cost. So give it to others so it become customers. So here's my ask of you. Today, based on what we've learned, I am asking you if you're going to continue the commitment, right? Because you're here voluntarily. Like you're here because you want to be here, right? You're here because you want to learn. If you want to continue to learn and put a strategy to the test, I want you to set up one free trial AI agent to someone you know. And I want you to ask them, do they know someone else that they would want to give this to as well? You're limited to 3. Do you know 2 more people that you would want to give this to as well? I got 2 more spots available. I'd rather give it to somebody that you know is going to benefit from it. Do you have anyone else that could take advantage of this, that wants to take advantage of it? So if you got a gym owner in your phone, and maybe it's your neighbor or your friend, and they set up the AI agent, do you know that gym owner is going to get more calls answered than they normally do? They are karate school. They're going to get more calls answered than they normally do. They're going to find things they didn't even know were happening, calls coming in that they had no clue. So you're going to have a lot of data. Now, don't give this free trial to somebody that doesn't have any traffic, that doesn't have people calling their business, that doesn't have anything. They're still in the very early stage. Well, they're not going to get result. This works great with people that have traffic in businesses, customers, inquiries. They're doing advertisements. Because now you're going to create these measurable case studies that you could show and present. Hey, Robert, I worked with some gym companies, just gym owners like yourself. And what we learned was this. During 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., all of their trainers were training their clients. We also learned that there was walk-ins coming in to tour the gym or to see things in action, and all the salespeople were on tours. So we found that between 5 and 8, salespeople are busy, the trainers are busy, and the front desk is swamped with people checking in and updating credit cards. And we found that people that wanted to buy a membership online or they wanted to find out about a guest pass or what the fees were hanging up and going to the next gym, or they're hanging up and just showing up and waiting and frustrated. But what we learned was that, what I got to learn was that I've been working with a handful of gym owners, and I set this up, and it answers all the questions that they have. All the problems that they had, we solved them. How much is the guest fee? It answers it. What are your memberships? It answers it. How do I set up my free personal training session? It answered it. It even booked the appointment. But you don't know this, or you won't experience this until you get customers on trials, until you get people that trust you to get involved. So if you're committed to getting one person from your Rolodex to set up a trial today, let me know in the comments below. I'm committed to getting one person set up on a trial to turn on my AI agent and figure this out so I can get and feel what it's like to work with somebody. Because I promise you this, once you feel what it's like to work with somebody getting results, you love that feeling. You want more of it. And that's how you start closing with action. See, we went from getting rejected, we went from getting voicemails, leaving voicemails, getting callbacks. Who's this? You called me, you left a message? Yeah, that's exactly why I called you. I was hoping to speak to somebody, not leave a message. How many of those are you missing out on? How many customers are you missing out on because of that? I would love to show you what I'm doing to help people with that. Right? And now you're going into strategy conversation. So you go in from like selling yourself, pitching yourself into strategy, business acumen questions, business acumen conversations. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm paying for. This is what my goal is. This is why I'm frustrated. This is what my competitors are doing. Those are different conversations than, hey, I want to, talk to you or get on your calendar. These are the conversations I want. And then we get into, all right, how do we get it going? That's the next level of conversation. How do we get it going? But you got to call 25 people. You got to follow up with the last 25 that didn't answer. You got to put them into your high level and send them an email. You got to do the action because then you get to close with a call to action. Look, Joe, we've been on a journey together from getting a hold of you the first time, sharing with you what this is like, to now you seeing it, proof in the pudding, what you've been missing out on. I know that you were mad that you wish you would have knew this sooner, but here's the good news. You're exactly where you need to be moving forward. So let me show you how this all works out on the paid plan. I gave you our free trial. I gave you our sneak peek. Here, the paid plan even has more. Here's what it has. But wait, my question to you is this. What are your bigger goals that you want to achieve for your business? So before I go over everything else, here's my question. How many new members do you want by the end of the month? How many new members do you want to reactivate that haven't used the gym, but you know they're willing to pay for a personal trainer to hold them accountable to come to the gym? And you start asking those business acumen questions, and they're like, man, have you worked in the gym before? How do you know all this? Dude, I do my research. I work with other gym owners, and I know what it takes to win. Let me show you how easy it is to get started with this. And now we have customers. Let's take a minute here, y'all. With what you know now, what is holding you back? With what you know now, what is holding you back? I'm going to look at the comments here. I want to know what's holding you back because that's what I want to answer. That's what I want to do my best to debunk. I want to do my best to debunk that. Pull this up here. So a question came up here on this free trial. Are we offering all the AI tools? Let's just offer the voice AI. Let's just solve one problem. We know that with the voice AI, it can answer, it can help with the missed calls. We know that it can handle schedule appointments. Depending on what your tech experience is, don't put added pressure on you. Because in 7 days, it's impossible to get everything rolling up and going. Get the voice AI up. And what'll happen is, there was a question that popped up here, I think it was yesterday or earlier. How do I get them to switch their phone number? Well, Call forwarding is like standard on all phones. They just forward the number to the number you assign. Just have that number forwarded, right? And then they can unforward if they want to. But just have them forward that number. But JB, why 7 days free, man? Why free? If you can get them to pay, get them to pay. If you can get them to pay, get them to pay. You don't have to give it for free. But if you're listening in, maybe you're having trouble having those beginning conversations. Maybe you're having a problem with them getting back to you or ghosting you after you share with them what it could do. Maybe they're overwhelmed. So I like the 7 days free because it gives me a reason to get them into my high-level ecosystem. Right? So let's just say you get to start. They say yes. All right, great. Let's get you set up right now. What do you mean? Let's get you set up right now. What's your email? Plug in their email, you create the sub account. Create the sub account, you have them download the Lead Connector. Right off the bat, they're in the system already. They're getting the notification. All right, log in. Then you go to your AI voice agent and you create an agent under their sub account. Right? Now, here's the thing. If you already know, because you had the first conversation with them, that they're a good candidate and they're talking back to you. See, here's the litmus test. And I know this is basic, but when we're struggling and we're not like seeing the clear picture of winning, the basic is not obvious. If I have someone texting me back and forth, that's a good lead. If I have someone answering my calls, that's a good lead. I am going to get their email sooner than later and get them into my CRM. And I'm going to create a sub account as soon as I'm about to join some sort of meeting with them. And I'm going to say to them, hey, look, Jared, I'm excited to connect with you, bro. I'm going to put together a trial for you to see this in action. Because look, the proof is in the pudding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a login information to get into your account so you see it in action. If you want to keep this going, I'm going to give you 7 days free. You can forward your number and have this working for you all day, every day, the next 7 days. And you're going to have full transparency and full control of it in action. And you're going to see how many calls come in after hours, how those calls get answered. And you're like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. Because you took the next step. See, business owners sometimes are so scared to take the next step that they procrastinate or they give themselves a roadblock of why this is too good to be true. It's almost like if you're at the stage where you give yourself self-doubt or you're overwhelmed, like that's your excuse why you didn't make those 25 calls. That's your excuse why you didn't stop into the business next door to your favorite bagel shop. That's why you didn't go to that meeting that you saw or that trade show that was in your area, or you just didn't stop in and introduce yourself. You didn't claim ownership of your agency to somebody. You haven't posted on Facebook yet that you have a marketing agency, that you help people with problems. You're just quiet because you haven't owned it yet. Either it's the self-doubt or you're overwhelmed. So we're going to eliminate that for these business owners. Hey man, don't worry about it. I got it all. I'm going to take care of it all for you. I'm going to set it all up for you. I need to confirm a few pieces of information, and I need to understand what you want it to do for you. But I'll take care of the tech stuff. And then I just need you to forward your phone number to it. I got you from there. Like this will work there, and we'll touch base. Like I'll keep an eye on it too. Got you covered. Because what we did there was we took out the excuses. Oh, I gotta babysit this. Oh, I'm not techie, or oh, I don't got time for this. This is free. It's no, we took it all out. Because I built value on my SaaSpreneur, on my expertise, not the product. I am worth more than the product. My time, my energy, my collaboration, my conversation, my vision, my view, my understanding, my strategy fuels the voice AI, not the other way around. The voice AI doesn't fuel me. I fuel the voice AI. Like I fuel the business owner. How much would you charge after the 7-day trial? You can go $297 a month. You can go $197 a month. You can go a setup fee, $150 setup fee. But I say earn the earning by getting paid what you're worth. And that could be $250 setup fee, $250 a month. Could be $297 setup fee, $297 a month. But let's do the math, right? $297 up front, $297 a month. They pay $594 today. $594 today took me about, let's say, 3 hours worth of work between chatting, setting up, the whole nine. I got paid $198 an hour. $198 an hour is what I got paid. Because I charge $297 setup fee and I charge $297 a month. Right? And you could go low ticket. You could go $97 setup fee, $97 a month. Because your cost of goods is $97 a month for each one. So you can 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x it. But they're not just buying the software, they're buying your strategy, they're buying your relationship, they're buying your expertise, they're buying that you're their guide. Share your questions below that you have. How many of you are ready to start getting these conversations into strategy calls? Right? Conversations when someone's talking back to you, right? Hey, okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. I like the idea, but or this, or okay, but what if? Those are great conversations. They lead into strategy calls. Well, like I know that this tree company, they have 3 trucks, but they look bigger online. They got ads. They have staff. They got all these things. They're. I know. I went to school with the guy. Like I went to college with him. He was a whatever. Okay, so what are you trying to say? He's got 3 trucks, but he looks like he has 30. Yeah. Why do you think that's the case? He's just doing all this Google stuff and Facebook and stuff, and he's got this young guy and gal that they do marketing. Okay, why don't you? I don't got the time. Okay, let me help you. Let's start to unpack the strategy. Here's what I've done. I looked at a few things that they're doing. I'm looking at a few things you're doing. Here's the gap. Let's start with how you answer the phone, right? Or let's start with how you look on. Like you gotta like be able to identify. Like you have to be able to identify the pain point, and then the path to the solution. And that's not going to happen overnight. But how many of you have owned your own business before? Let's say, like, because I mean a lot of different people. They're new to the agency, they're new to the marketing world, but they've owned their own business. They've had a family business that they've, been a part of. How many of you have had like a family business that you've been a part of, that you were in charge of, that maybe you sold? What were the problems that kept you up at night? What were the conversations that excited you? Right? It all comes back to conversations. We're not having enough conversations, folks. We're not. We're not. That was my big. That was. That's. We're not having enough conversations. Conversations. Big C. Conversations. So, JB, I made 25 calls. I'm going to call chiropractors. I'm going to call cosmetic dentists. I'm going to call optometrists. What do I do then? Right? You want to identify the pain point, right? See where their gap is, right? Are they a big business? Are they a small business? who else is in their area. You want to highlight what the voice AI can do after you get to know them, right? And then you want to get them on the trial. You want to present those results, and then you want to turn to the next step. Everything we're doing here is we're going to the next step. See, the revenue potential is there, right? For medical practices, missed calls is missed revenue. Doctor opportunities during peak hours, the voice AI makes sure that no calls missed, especially if they're small offices, right? High value per appointment, a few extra appointments can generate thousands in revenue, right? That easily covers AI, the service they pay you. Right? Automatically scheduling those appointments is key. Sending text reminders is key. And the tangible results? Well, appointments booked adds revenue. And when you start to hold yourself accountable with your trials, you start to hold your prospective customers accountable with their process on how they get their customers. Well, you start to solve problems bigger than you and I, deeper than what we're going over. Because Google's not going to share every problem that every business owner has. There are a set of problems that keep business owners up at night. And you'll start to understand what they are as you work with a group of people or a type of business over and over and over. And you'll be able to start with the problem. You'll be able to show the solution. You'll be able to present the data to back that up. And then you'll be able to say, hey, look, here's what I got to fix that. Here's what I know what'll work. So I want you to pick one industry for right now. But just in this example, pick one industry, and I want you to write a results-focused statement for it. Right? I want you to focus on the outcomes of that potential industry. Right? What type of growth do you think they're looking for? What type of efficiency? What type of money do you think they want that they're missing out on? And then use that for that industry. At least 25 phone calls. And if you're going to work with small dentists, right, in your area, understand what their pain point is. Right? If they are specialized in, quick appointments, well, are those cleanings? Are those cavities? Are those root canals? Understand what type of patient they want, and help them fill those empty spots. If you're working with tree service companies, understand if they want emergency work, if they want commercial work, do they want residential work? Do they want emergency calls primarily? Do they want routine work? Will they take anything? When you're working with restaurants, understand. Do they have slow days? They're a pizza shop. Do they have slow days? Right? If they're a high-end restaurant, if they're a restaurant where they're always busy, right? Like if you call one of these big chains now, you don't even talk to human beings on these big chains. It asks you questions and then it tells you the answer and then it disconnects the call. Like call a big chain and try to get a table. You're going to go through a couple prompts. And as you start to do that and you start to become familiar, you're able to highlight the transformation. People want the transformation. They want to know if they work with you, if they follow your lead, will you bring them to a new state of how to do business? Will you get them where they need to be? Because we know that the voice AI solves the real problems, right? Jason Wardrop went over this in his AI marathon episode, right? 62% of calls to small businesses go unanswered. Call any small business right now, call 25 of them. A majority of them won't answer their phone because they're either busy or they think it's a solicitor calling. Because they find it too good to be true that somebody's calling them to buy something or somebody's calling them for something other than, asking about their electricity bill. And missed calls during those peak hours lead to lost revenue, especially during peak hours. And staff, they're struggling. Whether you're a pest control business, right? No matter what kind of business you are, you're getting influx of calls if you are working for a business that's been around, that does advertisement, that's easily accessible online. They're getting phone calls. And it's just impossible to get back to everybody. It's impossible to handle every complaint, every question. I'm one person. You ever heard that? I'm just one person. Well, not no more. That excuse doesn't have to be an excuse anymore. Your AI employee will help you get you multiple persons to answer your questions. And you can leave your humans that have been with you to do more important tasks to handle your customers that need more customized, more personal attention. And as you start to understand this, start to talk to people about it, every talk track will be just a little unique to that business. But you got to know what you're talking about. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to know what you're talking about. You got to play with the voice AI, right? You got to understand at least how to set one up version 1. You got to get trials in there. Like your AI agents, you should have like 10, 15 free trial AI agents, at least from now until December, end of December, that people are seeing results and experiencing it. And your biggest problem is trying to figure out how you're going to share these results that are coming in because they haven't either seen it themselves or they don't know how to see it. But that should be a big problem for you. How do I let this guy know that he's got 10 missed calls and 5 of them he hasn't even called back even though the AI employee answered the phone for him? He's got to still follow up. They want service. He's got to do the job. That's a good problem to have. And now you're able to create relatable before and after stories of your own. Of your own. Like I can give you stories all day. You can read stories all day. You can use other people's experiences. You could hypothetically talk about stuff, but it's nothing like your own. It's nothing like name dropping your own customer. Nothing like knowing that your effort brought that result. Nothing like it. So JB, how do I do it? Talk to people. Go on your phone. Find out who's a local business owner, who has a business. Go on your Facebook. Find out who has a business. Ask people, does anyone have a business that needs help answering the phones? Does anyone have a business that needs help answering the phones? Someone's going to say me. You go into a Facebook local group. Does anyone have a business that needs help answering the phones after hours? Yeah, of course I do. You gotta leverage the opportunity, but you gotta know how to look for it. If you're waiting for people to walk up and say, "Hey, sign me up," keep waiting. You have to create the conversation. You have to create the post. You have to create the scenario for them to engage with you about it. And that's how you start to create these trials. If you've been on high level and you spent most of your time understanding the tech with the goal of getting a customer to fulfill the tech, well, you're not having enough conversations. You're not having enough conversations. And no lyrics will do better than you just picking up the phone and asking somebody a question about their business and then asking them, would they be interested in finding a way to bring 5 more customers after hours that call you and have it answered for them? Like, you got to get creative. Throw in the chat below creative. Conversations start with creativity. Conversations start with creativity. You got to get creative on how you get your foot in the door. You get creative on how you get in the foot in the door on the talk track, on the question you ask. Here's my question to you all. How many of you want to get your first customer by the end of this week? Let me know below. How many of you want to get your first customer by the end of this week? Let me know below in the comments. I got to scroll down here. Let me know below in the comments how many of you want to get your first customer by the end of the week. Okay. What kind of customer would you like by the end of the week? What kind of customer would you like? What industry would you like before the end of the week to say yes to your trial? Do you want a tree service as a trial? Do you want a tree service as a customer? Do you want a chiropractor? Do you want a daycare? Do you want a pest control company? Do you want an HVAC? What type of business do you want to say, yes, I'll try that? Dow, I'll try it. Fred, I'll try it. Carl, I'll try it. Shaz, I'll try it. Tanya, I'll try it. Roger, I'll try it. Hey man, what do I gotta lose? Alan, I'll try it. Nusrat, I'll try it. William, I'll try it. Double R, I'll try it. Like, guys, because I'm asking you the question, you're answering it. Your potential customers want to be asked questions. Roger, go to exp.com. Roger, go to exp.com. Look in your area for the list of agents in your area on EXP. Go to kellerwilliams.com. Go to whatever big real estate company in your area. Go to their website. On their website, search agents. Find one. Send them an email. Hey, saw you. Right? Would love to chat with you on a project I'm putting together with the top real estate agents in your town. Shaz, I saw you on the high level chat. I'm looking to put together something for the top marketing companies that use high level. Right? Tie it to something that's going to bring pride to their business. Right? Tie it to something that's going to bring pride. Don't make this dreadful. And if they don't respond back, then they're not worth your time. And that's how we start to create these before and afters. Now, here are some examples on what your voice AI, as a scenario, if you're working with a gym and they have customers, they have members, they're buying leads, they're giving away guest passes, they have walk-ins, they have at least 50 people that went on their website, walked in, stopped by, and put their name, phone number, email. Why can't they send them a text or an email and ask them to call to schedule their complimentary personal training appointment to get them back in the door? right? Why can't they do that? Why can't they bring in a couple $1,000 in additional revenue by collaborating with your expertise, your strategy, and their list that's there waiting? Why not? Why can't a real estate agent reactivate some old leads from their multi-level of their MLS? Why? Of course they can. Because voice AI doesn't just automate, right? It gives these business owners, when it's done right, when it's combined with SMS, when it's combined with email, when it's combined with strategy, when it's combined with high level features, it brings a new way of doing business. Voice AI is just one part of the full package that you offer with your expertise in high level. Okay. And no, you don't need it to make the phone call outbound, right? Because if you have the email and the text, right, you're going to use at least those two touches to drive them to call. We want people to call us, not to yell at us or curse us out. We want people to make the next step. So guide them to what that phone call next step is. And you start to get a chance to show them the quick math. Look, with a tree service company, let's look at the average revenue of a job. At least $300 per job. They miss at least 20 calls a week, right? And with the conversion rate, even if it's at 50%, before they got $0 revenue with 20 missed calls. At least with having a voice AI answer the phone, an AI employee, they're getting 10 booked jobs. They're getting 3,000 in revenue without them doing it themselves. The AI employee, the voice AI took care of it. These are examples of stories you could start to experience as long as you set them up for a free trial, as long as you have good conversations. A gym owner, average membership, $70 a month. Let's say you reactivate it with some text messages. Let's say you reactivated it with some emails. Let's say those emails and text messages drove them to an open house or a 1 day special offer that people called in. And it was only 40% that converted. Before, those 50 inactive leads were $0 revenue coming in the door. Let's say we got 20 new members. Let's just say we got 20 new members. That's an extra $1,400 a month. Before voice AI, zero. After, more than before. How about that? It just doesn't save leads. It builds recurring revenue. It's answering questions. So, as you start to understand this transformation, it gets perfected when you put your hands on it. It gets perfected when you work with business owners in your area. It gets perfected when you have conversations with your customers and those that are on trials and those that pass on referrals. It gets better because businesses don't care about your AI employee or your AI voice. They only care what it does for them. They only care what it does for them. And that's where the stories become real world impact, and you start to build these case studies up. You start getting raving reviews from people. You start to build this level of confidence that, man, I do have the secret sauce. I hope no one finds out about what I got. What's holding you back from getting one trial today? What's holding you back from getting one person to say yes to you? that you could set up the AI agent for them and they could see it for themselves and you could see it for yourself with a real business. What's holding you back? I just want you to get one set up so that way you could share it and we could workshop that. Like we have nothing to workshop if you can't even set up a free trial. And you're not even paying for it. Like it's you get use of it to give to others so they experience it till the end of the month for no fee. So get as many of these as you can get out so you can build these case studies up early so you can now tell the story to others. Now that you understand where we're at with the initial outbound outreach, calling businesses in my area because I'm letting them know that I'm in the area as well. I understand the area. I'm not some robot calling them. I care. I'm from here. Like I know what the opportunity is. And I'm, almost like this. I'm handpicking to work. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Here's why. Because I see that you do a lot of advertising. I know you care about your business. I see that you got great reviews. I know that you got happy customers. I see that other businesses try to copy you. You're the leader in the area, and I want to work with the leader because you still have leaky buckets getting filled up, even though you have everything great going on. So what I want to do is I want to set you up with a free trial of what I have with my AI employee. It's going to answer your calls after hours. If you want to load up and have it answer your calls all day, 3 days in a row or all 7 days, it's up to you. We just got to forward the calls. And I have to just make sure as we program this that I tweak the Q&A, the answers. It's going to answer these questions for you. Let me do this. I got one up for you. What's your email? I'm going to set up an account for you now. While I'm doing this, go ahead and download this app. It's the Lead Connector. It's in the App Store, the Google Store, whatever they got. Let's get you up and running. I want you to see it in action. And I just want you to I want you to forward your number just for a couple of hours, after hours, or all day tomorrow. And I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'm going to get you some updates. And now that's the responsibility you have to take on to own it. Right? You're going to keep 100% of the proceeds. Well, you have to own 100% of the process. Right? So what do we got to do today? What do we got to do now? We got to get ready to get our first set of trials up and running. And we have to turn those insights into opportunities. We have to identify at least one type of business that we're going to call at least 20 of them. Like you can call anybody you want, guys. I'm not saying for you to pick one niche and one niche only. Absolutely not. But if you're going to pick one type of business, call at least 20 of them. So you get a good feel of the conversation consistently. I want you to look at this like riding a bike. Imagine there was 4 bikes, 4 different bikes, but you're still learning how to ride a bike. And I said, all right, get on this bike. I'm going to push you, you pedal. You fall over. All right, leave that bike. Get on this bike. Push you, you fall over. You're going to keep falling over. But if I say to you, get on this bike, I'm going to hold you here. We're going to run through this. You're going to keep pedaling. And we're going to move forward. You're going to get used to the handrails. You're going to get used to the weight of the bike. And you're going to start riding nice and smooth until you hit the brake. And you'll pull one leg down, another leg down. You'll look back and you'll be like, man, I did it. I did it. Right? But I'm not having you jump from bike to bike to bike. Keep it consistent for a while. Dodge a few questions from the same type of business so that way you could start pushing them to the side. I got the answer to that one. Listen, I'll be honest with you. That comes up a lot, but it's not relevant. Here's why. Boom. Objection out the way. Oh, no worries. Don't worry. Objection out the way. You're getting these objections out the way because you're familiar with what's coming next. And that becomes easier to offer your trial. And you're going to notice you're going to outgrow this trial strategy very quickly because you're going to get your first set of results very quickly. You're going to feel good very quickly. But you need this as your foot in the door to start building this case study and this confidence. So, build your transformation stories today by taking action. Get your 25 calls in. Dodge those excuses with quality answers. Book those setups to get the trial up and running. And give yourself a fair chance at this that you deserve. Because now that you know what you know, it's time to take the action. It's time to implement the strategy. It's time to get those conversations going. That is the hardest part. So what's for tomorrow? We're going to go into prospecting insights from our expert sessions, from our AI marathon, from Adam Earhart, and our other workshops. But it really comes down to one thing. What you learned on day one, what you learned on today, what you learn tomorrow doesn't do anything but fuel the thing you're responsible for, which is the conversation starter, which is the activity, which is the outreach, which is the follow-up. Go ahead and share your wins. Go ahead and share your top takeaways here. I want you to send out your emails. I want you to send out your SMS. I want you to share your screenshots. I want you to showcase the receipts of you putting in the work, because that will help someone else put their foot forward instead of just standing still. This link here drives you directly to the Facebook event where you could share your wins. You could share your conversations. If you're watching the replay of this, let me know below. But I'm going in depth on these different topics because they all lead to one thing. You got to pick up the phone and you got to get personable. Pick up the phone and reference that email you sent. Pick up the phone and reference that text message you sent. Pick up the phone and say, hey, I saw that Facebook post. Pick up that phone and say, hey, I saw you guys in the newspaper. Pick up that phone and say, hey, congratulations. Pick up that phone. Whatever you do, you got to pick up that phone right after. And let them know that you are a genuine human being that lives in the area, and you wanted to give kudos because you're also a business owner. You're also aware of how hard it is to get reviews. You're also aware that customers could be difficult. You're also aware that it's impossible to answer every call all the time. You're also aware that there's still a lot of businesses that are out there that aren't as good as you, but they're getting customers before you because you're bombarded managing what you have in front of you. But I want you to look at this as you being the subject matter expert, you being the coach, you being the consultant, you being the business advisor for the local businesses in your area, and turning their 2 hands into 8 hands and saying, hey, look, there's a lot of things in your business that you have to handle directly. I'm aware of that. But I can help you with this hand here with after-hour calls. This phone number can handle frequently asked questions. This number can handle answering scheduling appointments. This, like, your AI agent becomes extra hands for the business. You have that opportunity. And if you've taken advantage of the AI season offer, then you got it for free till the end of the month. So you could turn on agents all day long and give this away to create your own trial to get your own customers in the door. Because here's what I'll tell you. There are a lot of companies offering this same service right now, and they're charging $500 a month, $1,000 a month, hundreds of thousands of dollars for white label platforms and servers and all these different bells and whistles. At the end of the day, you can buy a product that does what you do now for 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. It's still not going to change the most important part, which is picking up the phone and making relationships. Hey, I'm local. I saw your, hey, I'm local. Would love to talk to you about this. Going to a networking meeting, going to an online meeting, sharing your story on social media, posting in groups. Get your brand out there. Get you out there, and people will be like paper clips, and you're the magnet. And all the paper clips will come to you as the magnet. Share your questions below. It was a great time hanging out with you. I'm hoping that you found this to be a missing piece in the big picture. I'm hoping you found this to be the push that you need to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, to get on a Zoom like this and have a call, have a talk. Hey, what are you doing with your business? Hey, what do you need help with? Conversation is everything, folks. That's the missing piece. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. We do it all over again. We're here together all the way till Friday. Share your comments, share your wins. Thank you for joining. And I hope